Go over to my PC, just hit a... What do you mean, upcoming event? I should be streaming now. Why does it think it's an upcoming... Ah, okay, it just hadn't sorted itself out. So if I turn this volume up here, why does it think it... Yeah, that's me, isn't it? Right, let's just post a link on the Discord, just in case there's anybody around. Let's put streaming now. Don't have to do like 5 minutes of faffing around this time. Although I suppose I should wait just a couple of minutes just to see if anybody's going to turn up. Oh, I'll tell you what I can do. Rather than like wasting time, what I can do is I can go and see if we can find where we were with the cards. I suppose I should say something like, hello and welcome to part 2 of the Murders of Markov Mallet MTGPQ stream, shouldn't I? I should say something like that. Chalk outline, I like that one. Cryptex, I believe, was the last card we looked at, wasn't it? And I don't remember Culvert Ambusher. So, shall we crack on? I mean, we're not likely to get to a really good card for a while, are we? Nobody seems to be in the chat yet. I'll crack open my can of Relentless Zero Sugar Peach. Nom nom nom. Oh, that is good. And let us just kick off, shall we? Because I've got a funny feeling that nobody's really here to learn about Culvert Ambusher. But let's see what it does anyway. It's a 10 mana. When it's revealed, target creature gains Defender until end of turn. When this card enters the battlefield, target creature gains Defender until end of turn. I mean, we don't care about that, do we? Why do we want to give something Defender? To kill it? Are there much, much better ways of killing things? Yes, there are. Moving along. Curious Cadaver. When a clue support you control is destroyed or lose a reinforcement, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, too small. Too small, isn't it? I could see something like that being a thing. Returning a card from your graveyard to your hand. It needs to have a relevant ability. The reason I like Blood Operative is not just because it comes back, and not because it's 5/3. It also has a relevant ability on it. It's got lifelink on it, you know. I think it does some kind of exiling graveyard thing as well, doesn't it? Mostly I just care about the fact that it comes back to play from the graveyard and it has lifelink. All this is a 3/1 zombie detective. Is that a camera he's got? Is that a camera with a brain on it? I can't even tell. Let us move along. Oh, yeah, he's got a camera in that one, you see. Curious Inquiry. When your first creature attacks, your first creature gets +1/+1 till the beginning of your next turn. Then investigate. When the support is destroyed, draw a card. Yeah, definitely not good enough. Curse of Surveillance. That's all I need to say there, isn't it? Deadly Complication. Yeah, she's dead, isn't she? Whoever that is. Oh, is she the one who got murdered at Karloff Manor? Is that what the whole thing's about? I remember a picture of her being a ghost yesterday when we were streaming yesterday. So maybe this is what the murder is. Maybe there's more than one murder. I don't know. I don't check the backstory. Destroy the first opposing creature. Okay, we like that, don't we? We like kill cards that cost 8 mana. That's decent enough. Your creatures with suspect get +1/+1. Then all creatures you control lose suspect. I mean, considering there's a card for 9 mana, consider there's Molten Collapse that destroys a creature, but then, oh no, wait, also maybe a support or a vanguard. You're going to play that rather than this, aren't you? And all that suspect stuff is just so much words. Just some words. Exile all creatures. That's a nice start to the card. We've got 18 mana. Is a bit expensive. We saw destroy all creatures yesterday for 12 mana, didn't we? And I, for one, am not really planning to pay 6 more mana for this effect, even though it's a marginally better effect, exiling creatures. Then collect evidence 2. If evidence was collected, exile all cards in your opponent's hand with equal mana cost, base power and toughness to the last card in your opponent's exile. Right. I mean, we've seen this effect before, haven't we? You know, there was a card in a fairly deadly something in a fairly recent set that had this effect on it, and it's rubbish and pointless. So stop doing that. Board sweep, too expensive. There you go. For 18 mana, you want to be blowing up all the supports as well, don't you? You know, River's Rebuke costs 21. Ruinous Ultimatum costs about 21. So really, for 18 mana, you want to be blowing up more than just all creatures. Deduce, draw a card, then investigate. I mean, okay, it looks a bit expensive for me, but okay. I don't think people need this. I don't think the Johnnies need this. I'm going to be playing with Artificer's Epiphany, to be perfectly honest, over this. Or Curse of Surveillance, you know. But, yeah, I don't think the Johnnies need this in particular. Delney Streetwise Lookout. This is a 20 mana 2/2. Beginning of your turn, all your creatures gain unblockable. Right, well, that's nothing, is it? It's got Menace. That's still nothing. When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it's got power 5 or less, reinforce that creature 2 times. I mean, just play with a better creature than a 20 mana 2/2. Really? All this is doing is putting some power and toughness on the table for 20 mana. You know? Play with a Galter. It's not good. We shall move on. We're not dwelling on things today, apparently. Discard a card, then draw 2 cards. For 12 mana, destroy a simple token you control if you do draw 2 cards. For 12 mana? 12 mana is too much. I like the art. That's presumably Aurelia, isn't it? We've seen on another card. That's what I like about that card. I like the art on that card. But 12 mana is clearly too much for that effect. Dogwalker. Disguise 6. When this creature is revealed, create 2 white dog tokens. Yeah, don't give a flying fuck about that. Nothing good going on there. Doorkeeper Thrall. When your opponent casts a creature card, disable it until the beginning of your next turn. Okay, this is an authority of the consoles, isn't it? On a creature, an authority of the consoles. It is 12 mana. That's a bit more expensive. I like authority of the consoles at 7. I'm not sure I like this at 12. Obviously, it's a creature. It's irrelevant that it's a 1/2. It's nothing at 1/2. Its flash is utterly pointless on this. Again, maybe Webcore don't realise that flash is pointless on this, but really, it's time for them to learn. So yeah, I'd prefer an authority of the consoles. Do I want a card like this in standard that disables my opponent's creatures? I mean, maybe. I doubt it. You know, most of the really scary creatures this does affect, doesn't it? In standard, Galter, it affects that. Blade Coil Serpent, Tainted Adversary, Blossoming Tortoise. I mean, it doesn't only gets that one trigger on Blossoming Tortoise. But it does affect most of the scary creatures in in combat. But yeah, it's 12 mana for a 1/2. I mean, you could have the decency to stick it on a 5/5 at least. At least make those dribs and drabs of damage that it's actually going to deal count in some way. It's not. This isn't something to go after, I don't think, is it? But it might. I don't know. Might be okay, but it's not something to go after. I doubt I'll play it. Drag the Canal. Surveil 2, then Investigate. Create 2 detective tokens. We assume that these are 1/1 creatures, although we're not too sure. Then your creatures gain vigilance until the beginning of your next turn. So just a staggeringly underwhelming package there. Do some things that really don't have much effect on the board. I mean, there is a place, isn't there? There's a place in this set for a card that just does some stuff like this. It goes, here you go, have a bunch of 2/2s, have some simple tokens, maybe gain some life, and, you know, do a bit of this, a bit of that. There's definitely a place for that, but all the ones they've actually made have been way overcosted. You know? Determined to make combo players have a nice easy time of it, but anyone who just wants to play some fun cards, they get shit, don't they? Duskana the Rage Mother. Yes, let's have a masterpiece. It's time for a masterpiece. Let's let this one be a good one. 18 mana 5/5 is too expensive. When this creature enters the battlefield, draw a card for each non-token creature you control. We assume it's going to draw for itself. It shouldn't, I don't think, under paper rules, but we assume that it's going to draw for itself. If you have nothing else in play, it will probably draw a card. That's not much, though, is it? Then, the base power and toughness of your other creatures become 5/5 until the beginning of your next turn. I can hear Goz salivating over this card already. He loves this kind of stuff. You know, you have a nice big stack of 1/1 tokens, and pow, they turn into 5/5 tokens. I, on the other hand, hate this kind of stuff. You know, if I've got 10 1/1 tokens, I'm quite happy to just let them carry on hitting away at my opponent. The reason I've got 10 1/1 tokens is probably because I've got a Thopter Spy Network in play. I'm happy to just let them grow over time, hit my opponent, and win like that. I'm not too bothered about pumping them up to 5/5. But there are people who like that kind of ability. There's more. At the beginning of combat on your turn, this creature gets +3/+3 for each creature your opponent controls. Okie dokie. Then, if this creature's power is 22 or greater, what a strange number, it fights each opposing creature. Well, it's going to die then, isn't it? I mean, if you've got a creature with 22 power, why aren't you just winning the game? I don't care. I don't like anything about this. Like I say, there's a contingent out here who are going to like the fact that you've got some 1/1 tokens. Maybe you've played them, for example, with Nissa Worldwaker's first ability. You've got a bunch of tokens like that. That ability's generating mana, so you're playing this creature. It's only making them 5/5 for a single turn. It's not exciting, that, is it? And the beginning of combat, it gets +3/+3 for each creature your opponent controls, but then only does something exciting if it's so big that you're absolutely dominating the game anyway. So, kind of a strange clause that. I don't know why. why I would be in such a precarious position that I would need my creature to fight all of my opponent's creatures if it has 22 fucking power. I don't like it. Maybe some others will. What have we got here? This says 12 mana. This is interesting. When this support enters the board, investigate. At the beginning of your turn, convert 4 gems to red or white. This is concerning to me. Because the other day, didn't we see a land that was exactly this? that costs 7 mana. And that's beginning to make me think, because they hate us, that was the misprint and not this one. This effect should cost 7 mana. But I'm worried that this effect costs 12 mana, because they don't want us to play with lands. They want us to play with Ransacked Lab. So I'm concerned. Again, this is okay as a land. You know, like I say, the game has moved on a little bit. But they should be making good lands. This is okay as a land. But yeah, please cost 7 mana and not 12. Eliminate the impossible. Investigate. Then opposing creatures get -2, -0, and lose suspect until the beginning of your next turn. It's another one of these cards, doesn't it? That just does a bunch of random stuff that's absolutely not worth it. They have some idea how to cost cards. You know, just, and it's not hard. It's not hard to make something like this a bit more powerful, is it? It's not hard. Just don't make it like this. Whatever you do, don't make it like that. Escape Tunnel. This is a land. Activate 2. Your first creature with base power 2 or less gains unblockable, then destroy this support, gains 3 mana. I mean, just fuck off. Essence of Antiquity. This is a 1/10. This is interesting, isn't it? Well, no. Defenders like this with 1 power and 10 toughness, I mean, they're obviously really bad, aren't they? You know? Again, there's a place in the game for creatures that have much more, for defenders that have much more toughness than power. But they need to be a lot bigger than 1/10. They probably need to be at least 5/20, to be perfectly honest. You know, and then that's only a start. That's not a creature, a 5/20 defender. You need to have some more stuff. Let's see what else we've got. When this creature is revealed, all creatures you control gain prevent damage until end of turn. Yeah, so you can see what they're going for here. Yeah, well, you flip it over and it's like, aha, surprise, Greg. Greg doesn't care. Why? No, he doesn't actually get surprised. He's got no idea what you're doing. He's thick as pig shit. But you go, surprise, Greg. All of those creatures that are attacking me, I'm going to defend against them this turn. They're not going to deal me any damage. But this creature isn't actually going to kill them. It's only preventing you the damage for a single turn. You know, it's absolutely 100% not good enough. We shall move on. I mean, I would give something like this flash. I hate the cloak mechanic. As you know, I don't like this card. I'm not saying make this card, give it flash, that makes it a good card. That's a bad card. But what I am saying is the whole point of having the cloak mechanic could just be replicated by giving the card flash. Yeah, and we wouldn't need to be dealing with these piddly small, irrelevant 2/2 creatures in play. Evidence Examiner. Well, you just know this is going to be a bad collect evidence card, don't you? At the beginning of combat on your turn, collect evidence 1. If evidence was collected, draw a card. I mean, for God's sake, for 8 mana, you can play a Sigiled Starfish. It's bigger, you draw a card, you don't have to exile your tokens. When you're collecting evidence, they get exiled, don't they? So the tokens don't even trigger. Yeah? For 8 mana, you can play a Sigiled Starfish. Oh, hello, Exalted Angel. Now, I mentioned this yesterday, didn't I? This was the one good morph card in the olden days. The first time they printed morph in paper, all morph cards sucked, and this was the one good one. I've got a funny feeling that this is not going to be as good as it is in paper. Because the thing about it in paper is you play it for 3 and then you attack on the next turn, morph it for 4. So on turn 4, it's coming in for 4 points of damage. It's got lifelink. That's a life swing of 8 in a game where players have 20 life. What we're dealing with here is once again a 4/5. That's when it attacks. It's going to be a life swing of 8 in a game where players have 120 life. 15 mana 4/5 lifelink is obviously too small, isn't it? I mean, we've got Gristlebrand. We've got larger lifelink creatures in this. Maybe Octagon, Webcore. I'm sorry, oh my god, I'm terribly sorry, Webcore, for calling you Octagon. That's a horrible, horrible slur. Maybe they've put some extra stuff on the card. Let's read the text. But there's going to have to be a lot more stuff. Oh, it's got level, look. It's got level, so it's obviously going to do something. Disguise 7. The beginning of your turn, if you can control another angel creature, this creature gets +X/+X. Okay, interesting. It is at least pumping itself up. Hang on a sec. Little bit of Peach Relentless there. If you control another angel creature, I mean, that's really limiting, isn't it? That clause isn't there on the paper version. That's something Webcore, I'm going to call them Octagon there again. That's something Webcore have thought up themselves, is that the type of people who want to play with this card are the type of people who want to play with angels. No, does anyone have angel decks? Have a look at your metrics, guys. Does anyone play with angel decks? Is Serra the Planeswalker? Is that one of the most played Planeswalkers in the game? I don't think it is. This creature gets +X/+X for each of its reinforcements till end of turn. X is this card's level plus the number of angel cards you control, including the reinforcement. What? Hang on, I'm really confused. This creature gets +X/+X for each of its reinforcements, and X is this card's level plus the number of angels, including their reinforcements. What? Are they saying that this is some kind of exponential effect? Is that what they're saying, yeah? So if I have like 5 angel reinforcement, let's say I've played one of those, I can't remember, there are 2 spells that put like 5 4/4 angel tokens in play, and I can't remember the name of either of them. But let's say I've got 5 angel tokens in this, say. Are they saying that this is going to get +5 +5 5 times for the 5 reinforcements? Is that what they're saying? It seems like a really weird way of wording it. I feel like they may have just fucked it up. Maybe they just want the creature to get +5 +5 for 5 reinforcements and not +25 +25. I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Again, if you've played that spell that puts 5 4/4 angels in play, you can just pretty much just kill somebody with that. You know? So maybe it does. Maybe if you've got 5 angels in play, this gets +25 +25. Oh, hello, Goz. Welcome in. Just saying hello to Goz in the chat there. When you make a match by swap, increase this card's level by 1. Oh, would you look at that? It's creating angel tokens. You make a match by swap, increase this card's level by 1. Create 2 angels. Well, this is very, very different from how it is in paper. Create 2 angel tokens. So we got a 15 mana 4/5 with lifelink. And next turn we're going to make a swap. We're going to put presumably 2 4/4s into play. Yeah. And then this creature then is going to, hang on a second, This card's level plus the number of... Right. So we make a swap. This goes up to level 2. We create 2 angels. Now X is now 2 plus 3. X is 5. It gets 5, 5 for each of the reinforcements of the other angel creature. That's 2. It gets plus 10 plus 10. I don't know. It seems okay, doesn't it? Actually, considering that this is a lifelink creature that is creating other tokens, and then those other tokens are pumping up this thing's life by some amount that's very difficult to calculate, but might be just exponential. It kind of seems okay, doesn't it? I'm not a huge fan, usually, of creature generators that are creatures themselves, but because of course they get shot. I mean, you know, it's going to happen a lot, isn't it? I'm going to play this. It's going to come into play as a 4/5, and then it's going to get shot. I mean, it does have ward. My God, is this actually something that I might want to play with ward? Finally, I mean, look. Don't get me wrong, I still just think it should have flash. You're not gaining anything useful from putting it into play and having it be a 2/2 with ward, and then going, surprise Greg, flipping it over and then suddenly having an angel. I think it should just have flash. But, considering we have to live with this bloody stupid disguise mechanic, this might be a thing to do. Slap it into play for 5 mana. You only have to drain 7 to flip it. And then it might be really good. I'm not quite sure how it works. So, like, if I play this face down, yeah, and then next turn, am I going to get to flip it before I make a swap or after I make a swap? I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Whichever, this kind of looks okay to me. Kind of looks okay. I think there might even be some people who are going to really, really love this card. So, yeah, don't mind it, actually. Exit Specialist. When this creature is revealed, return target creature to its owner's hand. I mean, we have these effects already on things, you know? Harbinger of the Tide is so boring to just keep saying every time a new card comes out, to just go, this isn't as good as Harbinger of the Tides. That isn't as good as Sigiled Starfish. But the simple fact of the matter is that you're spending a lot of time making cards, Webcore, that are in Origins in a better version. Yeah? People can get hold of Origins very easily. You get free Origins boosters every day. Yeah? Origins is the cheapest set to craft. Experiment 12. Now, I like this artwork a lot. I like this artwork. Very much so. What have we got? We've got 14 mana, 4/4. We've got a Disguise again. Oh, I wonder if we're going to get another Disguise card that doesn't absolutely suck. Disguise 10. When this creature is revealed, gets X plus X plus X. X is this creature's power. Okay, so we can play it as a 14 mana, 4/4. We can play it on one turn. For 5 mana, we can drain mana to flip it out. Like I say, it's more expensive. I think it's worth bearing in mind that it is more expensive than 15 mana to play this and then flip it. You know? It's fiddly. Because even though it's never going to drain more than that 10 mana, you know, it's going to fuck up the cards in your hand that you actually have put mana in and want to cast. So... it is expensive. It is more expensive than 15 mana, even though it costs exactly 15 mana to flip it over. But 15 mana for an 8/8, I mean, okay. But there's more. When another creature is revealed, reinforce that creature. Then this creature gets plus X plus X. X is that creature's power. I mean, fine. Look, yeah, there are going to be people who love playing Exalted Angel with Experiment 12. You've got 3 creature slots, haven't you? So why not? That's Experiment 12 and an Exalted Angel and some Angel tokens. Why the hell not? The beginning of your turn, this creature gains an evergreen at random between double strike. That's a good one. Vigilance, we largely don't care about, but I mean, I suppose it's a large creature, but we largely don't care about it. Flying, we absolutely don't care about, and Death Touch, we don't care about either. So there's a 1 in 4 chance of it gaining double strike. So it's just a big fat body. That's all it is. It's a big fat body. Is it a bigger fat body than Bloodthirsty Adversary? No, it is not. So I'm not going to play it. I think I like, you know, even if I was going to like a masterpiece, I would like Exalted Angel. Do you get this sneaking suspicion that I genuinely like it? I think maybe I do. I'm watching, on my TV right now is Everything Everywhere All at Once, yeah, that I was watching earlier. And first time I watched it, I didn't think I liked it that much. I knew that I liked it. I didn't think I liked it that much, but I've watched it like 3 times since then, so... Sometimes I don't know my own mind. I think that's what's going on with Exalted Angel, actually. I think I really like it, but I'm pretending not to because it doesn't adhere to my standard set of ideas about what makes a Magic Puzzle Quest card good. What have we got here? Extract a Confession, collect evidence 2, destroy opposing creature with the greatest power. I mean, is that... We have this effect. We've got Molten Collapse. We've got other cards that do this. You know, is it worth it being 6 mana rather than 9 mana because you've got to collect evidence too? No, it fucking is not. It absolutely is not. Eye of Duskmantle. Oh, we're getting all the masterpieces in one go, aren't we? This is a 3/8 with lifelink. Okay, interesting. Lifelink always relevant. Stats are a bit mediocre, aren't they? But maybe there'll be more. Activate 4. Destroy the top card of your library. Then this creature gets +1/+1 permanently. Okay. Activate 4 is all right, I guess, isn't it? It's not great. Activate 4 fairly quickly is going to run into that area where you're not able to trigger it every turn. It's not as awful as Activate 1 or 2, but it's not as great as Activate 7. I'm dropping truth bombs on you today, aren't I? That's right. Middle numbers are lower than high numbers and higher than low numbers. That's what we're learning today about numbers. There's more, though. Not only is it a lifelink creature that gets bigger and does a weird destroying thing. Maybe there'll be some synergy later on. Let's go. At the beginning of your turn, you may return the first support or spell card from your graveyard to your hand. If you do, that card gains full mana. We all do this, don't we? We all do different subsections of the cards for our reviews, don't we? You know, Goz, I know I like to do all of the cards. Goz, I know you like to do just the mythics and the masterpieces. Probably what we should do is just review the cards that say full mana on them, shouldn't we? That way we get all just the good cards then. So you may return the first support or spell card from your graveyard to your hand. If you do, this card gains full mana. Then you lose X life. Okay, that's a bit more of a shame, isn't it? X is the base cost of the last card in your hand. So it is the card that you return to your hand then. Whatever the cost is of the card that you've returned to your hand, you lose the life. And when this creature attacks, you create a clue token. I don't know. It's hard to kind of... it seems okay. It's hard to kind of get a handle on this, isn't it? 3/8 is a bit small, isn't it? It might not grow that quickly on its own. Yeah? And that amount of like certainly gaining 3 life in a turn for attacking with lifelink, or 5 life in a turn, is not going to cover the cost of the, I was going to say probably, it's absolutely not going to cover the cost of the card that you're putting back into your hand. So you're going to be taking a bit of damage from this thing until it gets large. But it certainly is putting cards back into your hand and giving them full mana, and you can't discount the possibility that this will be absolutely badass So I guess we should be comparing this to Gristlebrand. What does Gristlebrand actually look like? I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to foolishly do that thing now. Yeah, fuck that. Oh, damn. How am I going to find out what Gristlebrand looks like? Oh, I know. I'll go onto Discord. Because I don't actually play with Gristlebrand a whole lot. But I play with it occasionally. Card lookups. We'll go Gristlebrand. Gristlebrand actually draws cards, doesn't it? Let's see what it does. So it's a 14. Gristlebrand is a 14 mana 7/7 with lifelink. When you lose life, draw a card. Right, okay. Beginning of your turn, you may lose 7 life. If you do, the first black card in your hand gains full mana. They're pretty comparable, to be perfectly honest. You know, Gristlebrand starts... You could say it starts appreciably bigger at a 7/7, but, you know, you've got this Activate 4 thing growing. They're both giving you a card every turn. It's both getting full mana. This could be a good one, actually. Now, I'm going to try... In this set, I'm going to try not to buy a load of mediocre cards that I don't use. So I might end up not chasing this. Like in the last set, I spent lots and lots of jewels on cards that I just didn't end up using. So I might end up not getting this just because, even though it's clearly good, I mean, this is much better than high shit tier. I might end up not getting it. But it looks pretty good. Definitely looks pretty good to me. Nice. Ezrim, Agency Chief. Archon Detective. Again, nice art. I like it. When this card enters the battlefield, investigate, then investigate. Okay, so he's investigating then. He is an investigator. When a card is exiled from anywhere, this creature gains vigilance and lifelink until the beginning of your next turn. Right. I mean, I'm going to say it. just give him vigilance and lifelink. That's an interesting mechanic, isn't it? When a card is exiled from anywhere, because that is something that you can do quite easily by exiling cards from your hand. I'd like to see that effect on a card that's interesting, but I'm afraid just giving it vigilance and lifelink is dull. Now, that is a high shit tier card, to be perfectly honest, because when you are mastering cards, you do have lots of shit cards to throw away. It will have lifelink every turn. This is absolutely a high shit tier card. Fey Flight. Target creature gets +2/+2 and flying and hexproof permanently. Fascinating. Now, once again, it's got flash. Doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter that it's got flash, because if Greg wants to shoot it, he will shoot it. And the fact that it gains hexproof at the beginning of combat is not going to save it. But it is a thing that gives something hexproof permanently. I guess I shouldn't mind it. You know, it's Johnny's out there might enjoy constructing a creature that has got that can't be destroyed, even though it obviously can be destroyed by things like Molten Collapse. So, you know, I don't mind it too much. It's a thing that gives something hexproof permanently and is reasonably cheap. I guess I don't mind it existing. It's not a good card. Fairy Snoop. When this creature is revealed, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Just absolute garbage. Garbage from top to bottom. Felonious Rage. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 and haste until end of turn. Then create a detective token. I mean, okay, it's better than some, isn't it? There's definitely a card in. I was bemoaning earlier, wasn't I? The fact that they keep giving us worse versions of cards that are in Origins. There is, in fact, a card in Origins, isn't there, that costs 5 mana in red, gives something +2/+1 and haste. Oh, I suppose that's probably permanent, though, isn't it? And this is giving it something a little bit of a boost. It's giving it haste, and then it's created a detective token, which I'm slightly less sure is a creature now. The way this card is written has made me a little less sure that a detective token is a creature, but I think we'll assume it's a creature. But I mean, yeah, obvious rubbish. Let us not dwell. Festaleech, activate 1 black. Oh, good, we're back to activate 1s. I love activate 1s. Can it have, like, descend 10 instead? I always find the problem with activate 1 is that when you finally pop that 1 gem, like, you get the rubbish effect that's on the thing. Can you give it, like, descend 10, and that way I need to, like, pop the fucking activate gem 10 times before it does anything, and the rest of the time it's just completely useless? Please? Will you do that next time, Webcore? Thanks. This creature gets +2/+2 until the beginning of your next turn. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, destroy the top 2 cards of your library. I mean, it's until, you know, until end of turn disease. I mean, good on them for realizing that until the beginning of your next turn is a thing that exists. Now, you might not realize this, Webcore, but until the beginning of your next turn, that was how Hibernum, the original developers, originally implemented Flash. Yeah? We never needed Flash, and the reason why is because when you did like a giant growth on something, it would gain that ability until the beginning of your next turn. That's what until the beginning of your next turn means. So don't just randomly use it to make me think that you haven't put until end of turn on a card. That's why you've written it here, isn't it? Oh, Steve, this will fool Steve. Steve, he'll not notice that it happens until the end of a turn. If we put the beginning of the next turn, it's completely different. It's rubbish anyway. Rubbish. When this creature is revealed, convert 10 gems to green. Well, I mean, that's quite a lot. That is a conversion card. It is unfortunately a conversion card that doesn't just do the conversion straight away. We have cut your losses. Yeah. This is green. Green is supposed to be better at converting gems than blue. We have cut your losses. So, I mean, imagine what this would be like if it just took that fucking disguise thing off it. Why not? Why not make it a 12 mana 1/1 and it converts 10 gems, and every time you make a green match it gets +1/+1? That's still bad, isn't it? Then you can work from there. You can build the numbers up a bit. You can make it a bit bigger to start with. You can make the pump that it does bigger to start with. This is not what people want out of a conversion spell. People who play with conversion spells are mostly Johnnies, to be perfectly honest. I'm completely sorry. Even I was playing with Cut Your Losses for a while. It is a really good spell. I'm a control player. I am a spike. But, yeah. It's the Johnnies who want conversion spells, and the Johnnies don't care about waiting till next turn. I mean, Jesus Christ. The Johnnies are all playing with Galta, mate. They don't care about Flourishing Bloomkin. Oh, hello, this is the one that was spoiled, wasn't it? Investigate, then create X clue tokens. So create a clue token, then create X clue tokens. X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Okay. Collect evidence 3. If evidence was collected, draw 3 cards, then each card in your hand gains half its mana, rounded down. I mean, you've got to do a lot there just to get some cards with half their mana. Yeah, I feel like if I want cards with half their mana, I feel like I'm just going to be playing with Chimil. Yeah, there's a lot to be done there. You're doing a bit of investigating. I mean, okay, fair enough. Maybe you've got those creatures in your graveyard, but the important thing to remember is that maybe you haven't. And if all that's happening is if you're casting this masterpiece, and all that happens is that you investigate, it's not very good, is it? So I doubt it's gonna. I doubt it's gonna be good. I'm playing with time reversal. Yeah. Now time reversal is good in the late game. This would be okay in the late game when it's drawing some cards and putting mana in there. Time reversal is good in the late game, but this is the really key thing. Time reversal is also good in the early game. Yeah, that's right. Don't cast it turn 1. That's a bit too soon. Turn 2, blow that time reversal out there. Get some cards, put some mana in them. Can't play this thing turn 2, can you? Not so good. Forensic Gadgeteer. When you cast a support card, With the artifact subtype, investigate. At the end of your turn, destroy a simple support you control. Have they done it again? They've done it again, haven't they? This is another Sigilled Starfish. We already have Sigilled Starfish. I think they're assuming that investigate is enough, but all that investigate does is drawing a card. And frankly, in this standard environment that they have created themselves, drawing a card is never enough for an effect. What we want is to draw a card and put some mana in it. We're all playing with cards that draw a card and put some mana in it. Nobody's playing with cards. Nobody's playing with Alhammaret's Archive anymore, mate. Or even Sigilled Starfish, which this isn't as good at. You know? So, investigate could be a thing, but it can't be the only thing on a card. You know? Like in the past, we've had destroy target creature investigate. That's fine. Do that. Investigate is just a little bit of flavour on the card on the end of a card that does an actual thing. But you can't just make it do investigating things and nothing else. It's not good enough for a card. Forensic Researcher. Activate 1. Moving on. Forum Familiar. Oh, that's nice. When this creature is revealed, target creature your opponent controls to its owner's hand, then this creature gets +1/+1. Are you excited by the fact that you've got a white bounce spell? No, you're not. You're not at all interested. Frantic Scapegoat. I mean, that's got big fucking Goat Simulator energy. That picture, hasn't it? What is that? Is that the suspect icon? I think that's the suspect icon. That's a bit weird, isn't it? When a creature enters the battlefield, that creature gains suspect. So any creature entering the battlefield cannot block and gains menace. Creatures can't block anyway. Then, if that creature has suspect, this creature loses suspect. Otherwise, this creature gets +1/+1. Whatever's going on there, I'm completely uninterested in it. Fugitive Codebreaker. Disguise 5. When this card is revealed, discard your hand. We hate that. There's a lot of this going on, isn't there? There's a lot of discard a card, do something. That does not port well over from paper, Webcore. Stop doing it. Prowess reinforces. Somebody remind me what Prowess does. Is Prowess the one that triggers every time you cast a spell? Yeah? Anticipation is the one where you cast a spell on your opponent's turn. Prowess is the one that triggers every time you cast a spell. Reinforces creature, then create a gold token. Somebody tell me what Prowess does. I can't be bothered to go and check. So, I mean, if it was every time you cast a spell, you're reinforcing this 2/1, then it's not good enough, is it? It's almost in the conversation. You know, you could almost put it in a combo deck. It does have haste, but it's not really big enough. You know, just giving it an extra 2/1 every time you do a thing. It's not really big enough. Create a gold token as well. I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe there's something about the Johnnies will like this, that they'll throw it in the combo deck, you know, and it will get bigger as they're going off, and it'll put a load of gold tokens around, and that will gum the board up for some reason. It'll protect their supports. Prowess when you cast a non-creature card. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Johnnies will like this card. I mean, I feel like they've got Ransacked Lab at the moment to get excited about. I doubt the Johnnies are getting excited about Fugitive Codebreaker, but, you know, maybe they'll like it. I don't like it. It's not for me. Gadget Technician. When this creature is revealed, create 2 Thopter tokens. We don't care. Gearbane Orangutan. When this creature enters the battlefield, destroy an opposing artifact support, then this creature gets... This set's really full of design that they shouldn't be doing, isn't it? Not only are all the mechanics crap, you know? Like anything with disguise has to be good despite having disguise and not because of having disguise. So all the mechanics are crap. All the simple token stuff is crap. And then there's all this discarding stuff that we hate. We don't like it. Stop doing that. And there's quite a lot of this naming artifact supports as well. That was never something in the original version of the game. And with good reason. If you subdivide supports into too many types, then nobody's going to have the right answer. Nobody's going to put this in their deck when they can play with a more generalized card like Demolish or Void Rend, you know? Because there's a very good chance that this thing that only names one specific subtype of support is going to whiff. Webcore aren't listening to this. I don't know why I'm talking to them. Get a leg up. Target creature gets +X and reach. Very, very obviously too small. We've had better effects than this, haven't we? Before. So even the card players who this card is for won't like this card. I mean, better effects than this in this set. We had that big thing turning things into 5/5s, and we had that spell, didn't we, giving a creature +2/+2 for each of its reinforcements. So yeah, so we don't care about that thing. Gleaming Gear Drake. Do we like the art? We kind of like the art. Maybe we don't like the art. I don't know. When this creature enters the battlefield, investigate. When an artifact... Oh, it's everything in one go this time, isn't it? It's a masterclass in bad design, isn't it? We've got investigating and we've got artifact supports. When artifact support you control is destroyed, this creature gets +1. I mean, fine. Yes, fine. Go and get your old Gnawbones out. Knock yourself out. Have fun with this. There's better. There's better than getting permanently +1 to do with old Gnawbones. Glint Weaver. He's an actor, isn't he? Glint Weaver? I'm pretty sure that Glint Weaver was in No Retreat, No Surrender 3. When this creature enters the battlefield, your creatures get +1/+1. How exciting. Then you gain life equal to this creature's power. Okay, fine. It's an uncommon. It's bad. I'll master it. There'll be many worse cards than this when I'm mastering cards. But I probably would still wish it didn't have reach, though, so it didn't die. Granite Witness. Disable the first opposing creature until end of turn. Well, that's just awful. Why would we give a toss about disabling something until end of turn? At least give it some stun counters on this card that we don't care about. Greenbelt Radical. This is a centaur. When this creature is revealed, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each of their reinforcements. Been a lot of this type of effect, hasn't there? Then your creatures gain trample. Yeah, whatever. Griffnaut Tracker. When this creature enters the battlefield, exile the first 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. Well, I'm afraid that's nothing. The fact that you've made this a 6-mana 3/2, God, I can almost hear them on the forums now. Go, oh, it's power creep. Look how they're power creeping creatures. Usually you get 6-mana 2/2s, and this is 6-mana 3/2. Oh no, is Magic dying because of this power creep? Yeah, make it do an actual thing. The place for these types of effects, exile the first 2 cards from your opponent's graveyards, yeah? The place for these types of completely pointless, random, rubbish effects, yeah, is on one of the abilities of a Vanguard. There's loads of Vanguards out there that they all have 3 abilities, but there's loads of them out there that only have 1 good ability. Renin 6, brilliant example, yeah? It's completely bust as a card, but there's 1 ability that's good. That's where you put an ability like that on one of its other triggered abilities. Hazda Vigilante. Each creature with a cloaked subtype gets +1/+1. Okay, whatever. Hard-hitting question. Destroy an opposing Vanguard support. Yeah, that's not general enough. If you can't, okay, we spoke too soon. Deal X damage to the first opposing creature. X is equal to the base power of your first creature. Yes, not good enough. It's obviously not good enough. Sorry. It's damage, isn't it? Dealing damage to something means it might not die, and if it doesn't die, then you wasted an entire card. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a Thopter token. That creature gains haste. Okay. Might I recommend Thopter Spy Network? Hedge Maze. Yeah, look. It's 12 mana again, isn't it? It's 12 mana. Shit. That fucking land they made before, they got me all excited, that was 7 mana. That was a misprint, wasn't it? No, all of these lands, they all cost 12 mana. It's too much. You cannot play 12 mana off a single match. You really want to play a land on turn 1. Boom, it goes into play. It starts doing its thing straight away. A land might not get you any fucking mana. Yeah, it's not guaranteed to make a swap. It's not even guaranteed to create a board state that that it gives you a better move than you would have otherwise had. You want to play it on the first turn. So they're too expensive. What a shame. And it doesn't look like, I mean, we must be well over halfway through the set by now. It doesn't look like we're getting another cycle of lands, does it? This is it, unfortunately. I mean, it's improvements. But it's, you know, they're escalating the power of combo cards and creeping up the power of lands. And that's not the right way of doing things. When this creature enters the battlefield, collect evidence 4. Oh, and look, there's an activate 1 ability coming up as well. This is exciting. Create a plant boar token. Activate 1 green. Fuck off. When a token creature you control dies or loses a reinforcement, investigate. Here we go. Here's a lovely masterpiece. This one will be good, won't it? Trap 8. Oh, I think I remember this one. I remember Trap 8 is stirring something in my brain. This might have been the very first card that was released as a spoiler. I don't remember what it does. I have a feeling that even when I've read all of the text on this card, I'm still not going to know what it does. I'm probably not going to care either. But let's have a go. Let's show willing. Exile the last support or spell card from your opponent's hand. Right, we don't really like doing the last one, but doing the first one might be a bit sick. I mean, Trap 8. It's kind of hard to gauge how good Trap 8 is because we haven't had any trap cards for ages, have we? Jace 1 does trap. There's some cards in Ravnica that did trap. What's that, 4 or 5 years ago now? I mean, we just don't have trap cards. But what must be said, yes, is that exiling the last card from opponent's hand probably is going to be irrelevant. You know, they're probably going to only trigger 1 trap gem on a turn, if that. Trap's unreliable, isn't it? It's not under your control. Whether activate 8, yes. Trap 8, maybe no. Then deal X damage to the first opposing creature and to your opponent's planeswalker. Okay, we're getting some more. X is the number of cards in all exiles. Okay, well, there are ways to dump cards into your exile. We've talked plenty about Karn 1. And of course, you can always just exile a card from your hand. Cards are cheap. You can use some of those fucking investigate gems that they're so keen on making you generate all the time. It's not hard to draw a bunch of cards and exile them. So, I don't know. So maybe it's still not... It's still not going to kill a tainted adversary, is it? It's not going to kill a bloodthirsty adversary. You can push this up. You can exile enough stuff yourself to get rid of a single Guy's Revenge, can't you? But not a stack of them. Not a stack of Galters. Not an enormous amount of tainted adversary tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each opposing creature gains suspect. Okay, so they can't block. Largely meaningless. Then your first creature gets plus X. X is a number of creatures with suspect on the battlefield times the number of simple tokens you control. So we're looking at a bit of an exponential effect, aren't we? The number of creatures with suspect. I mean, that could be as many as 6. But it's probably not going. I mean, I really haven't seen a lot of suspect creatures. The creature that I like that plays around with suspect is Agros Kos, and he immediately kills the things that he gives suspect to, doesn't he? It's not like your opponent is building up an amount of suspect creatures. So yeah, I don't like it. It's exiling a card. It's dealing an amount of damage. The amount of damage it's dealing is better than usual. Still not good enough to kill an important thing, is it? I don't like it. Hotshot Investigators. These are Vidalcans. When this creature enters the battlefield, return the first opposing creature to their owners. There you go! How hard was that? None of that fucking playing around with disguise on this guy. No, boom, comes into play, goes back to your hand, and then it doesn't investigate. The design here is good. The problem is the 16 mana renders the whole thing worthless. Hunted Bone Brute. Okay, that's pretty neat. Well, the art, anyway. God forbid I would describe a disguised creature as pretty neat. I don't think it's going to be pretty neat. Disguise 9. When this creature enters the battlefield, create 2 white dog tokens under your opponent's control. Those creatures gain Defender. When this creature dies, your opponent loses 9 life. So you can see how this probably works in paper, can't you? Yeah? Like if you were to play this face up in paper, it would create some tokens for your opponent that would kill your creature, and that would be bad. And so what you do instead is you play it face down in paper, you flip it up, and then look at me, I've got an exciting large creature that's worth having in play. Yeah? 6 power in paper. That's 4 attacks, my opponent's dead. Do some maths for me. Tell me how many attacks it's going to take for a 6/2 creature to kill my opponent in Puzzle Quest. I'll wait. Illicit Masquerade. I don't know what's going on in the art there, but I quite like it. When this support enters the board for 12 mana, increase this card's level by X. X is a number of creatures you control. It does not say with these reinforcements. So it's not getting a lot of levels, is it? When a creature dies, exile it instead. At the beginning of your turn, if this card's level is 2 or more, move the first creature card from your library to play under your control, then decrease this card's level by 1. I don't like it. I've got to have 1 creature in play in order for it to be level 1, and it does nothing because it's got to have level 2 or more. There's nothing else increasing the level of this card, is there? So I've got to have 2 creatures in play, and then if I do that, move the first creature card from your library to play under your control. Then decrease this card's level. So if I have 2 creatures when I play this, I get to sprog 1 single creature out of my library, and then this stops working. It does not seem powerful enough for me. We've had some things generating full mana every turn, haven't we? We've seen some things. Obviously, if I've got 3 creatures in play, it's going to trigger twice, but who fucking cares? How often do you have 3 creatures in play? How many games have you ever lost when you have 3 creatures in play? This is not a game where you have 3 creatures in play. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Ill-timed explosion. Oh, I think I remember looking at this one. Discard the last 3 cards from your hand. We'll let them run with it because I know where this card is going. I know we don't like discarding cards, but I know where this is going. So we'll go with it for the moment. Then draw 4 cards. For each spell card discarded this way, deal damage to your opponent's planeswalker equal to that card's base mana cost. Now, plenty of things I don't like on this card. Discarding cards, obviously, I don't like. Yeah, dealing damage only to a planeswalker and not to a creature, I don't like. But I would love for this to be a card. I really would. Like, beatdown is not a thing in Magic Puzzle Quest, and you get the feeling that this could just go into a beatdown deck. Do you know what I mean? You could just deal 60 damage to somebody with this. There are definitely spell cards in this game that aren't good, that cost 20 mana. Meeting of the 5, Golden Wish, they're the two that leap to mind. Tempt with Discovery, 25 mana. Breach into the, I want to say Breach into the Multiverse. There are definitely good cards that cost 20 mana. The question really is, are you going to get 3 of them into your hand? And by the time you have got 3 of them into your hand, won't you just have wanted to cast one? Like, if I've got a Meeting of the 5, am I going to wait for 2 more 20 mana spells to turn up in my hand? Or am I just going to cast Meeting of the 5 because it's fucking great? Do you know what I mean? So I don't think this is going to be good, but I wish it was. I wish this was the basis of a deck that doesn't combo, but just hits your opponent in the face and they just die. Yeah? Obviously, you're going to have to play a couple of them or mix it up with some other stuff. So I kind of like this card existing. I don't think it's going to be good. I think there'll be some people playing with it. Have fun experimenting with this one, guys. All you video content creators out there, you'll have fun playing with this, I'm sure. Yeah, I can. The thumbnails write themselves, don't they? Have fun with that. Imperial Hellkite. This is a very old card. I don't recognise the art, but I think Imperial Hellkite appeared in like 7th edition or 8th edition or something like that. Somebody says Capricious and Hello Loop. What, for the ill-timed explosion? I mean, I don't know. I don't know about your Hello Loop. I haven't made an Hello Loop. I mean, maybe they're quite good. Capricious Hell thingy. Oh yeah, I hear that's good. I don't play with it. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, have fun playing with your ill-timed explosion. Let's go on to Imperial Hellkite, which, as I was saying, is a very old card. And you can tell because the artwork is quite ropey, isn't it? When this creature is revealed for 15 mana, so you're playing 5 for it face down, 15 for it to come face up, create 4 gold tokens. Is that worth it? I'm not sure it is. At the beginning of your turn, reinforce all dragon creatures you control. Okay, fair enough. It's a 6/6. It attacks as a 12/12. I mean, I feel like you probably want to play this face up, don't you? Yeah? If you play it face down, yeah, then on the turn you play it face up, you don't get the reinforcing creature anyway. I feel like you just fucking wait and play it face down. I mean, okay, I guess it's got ward. Yeah, whatever. All right, fair enough. Enjoy if you like that kind of thing. When this creature attacks, deal X damage to each opposing creature for each of their reinforcements. X is the sum of all your other creatures' power. Oh, okay. Right. So if you've just got it itself, it's a 6/6, it's a 12/12. It's sounding very high shit tier to me. You know, that's okay. It's certainly escalating faster than a Dr. Spy network, isn't it? You know, 6/6, 12/12, 18/18. But, you know, it is just a big fat creature, and I've got a Bloodthirsty Adversary. Thank you very much. So I'm fine with that. And then, yeah, it doesn't actually deal the damage unless you play have another creature. Yeah. And that other creature's got to have a fair amount of power on it. So you've probably spent about 15 mana on that creature as well. If you're ahead of your opponent by 30 mana, yeah, everything's tickety-boo anyway, isn't it? Too expensive. Why is it creating 4 gold tokens? I don't know. I really don't care about that. Is this the card that you're using to turn on all your, to collect evidence? Is that it? Is for those cards that do collect evidence? Is this the card that you're playing to create evidence for? I don't think it fucking is it? You're playing it for its own sake. You don't care about the gold. Incinerator of the Guilty. This is an 8 mana 6/6. I've got a bad feeling about this card. I feel like it being an 8 mana 6/6, and I can see it's got collect evidence on it, I feel like it's going to have a massive downside on it. Shall we find out? When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, collect evidence 3. If evidence was collected, deal X damage. Oh, okay, it's an upside. Fair enough. Deal X damage to each opposing creature for each of their reinforcements. X is the number of simple tokens exiled this way. Right. It's 3, isn't it? I mean, I'm not going mad, am I? Like, if you collect evidence 3, then you exile 3 tokens. Yeah? You can't exile more tokens because it says collect evidence 3 on it. And you can't exile less tokens because it doesn't trigger collect evidence 3. So what's with all the X? Yeah. I don't get that. So it's dealing 3 damage to each creature for each of its reinforcements. Whatevs. Yeah. I'm loath to even call this high shit tier. Obviously, when I'm mastering cards, I'm quite happy to have an 8 mana 6/6 in my deck. That's all it is. I'm very loath to call it high shit tier. Inside Source. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a detective token. Activate 2, not enough. Disable this creature till the beginning of your next turn. Then target creature. Oh, it's a stealth recruit card, isn't it? It's lending its power to something. It's not actually recruit, but that's basically what's going on here. It's lending its power to something else. Disable this creature. Target creature you control gets +4/+0 and vigilance. And the detective token, I suppose, is the other creature. That's creating another creature, isn't it? Yeah. And you activate 2. You make that good. Just play with a good creature. It's all this fannying around for just some 2 piddling little things. Insidious Roots. At the beginning of your turn, gain X mana. X is the number of creature tokens you control. Look at that 6 mana it costs. Then create a plant token. Now, whoever's designed this, I am pretty sure that they think it's gaining you mana for each of its reinforcements. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe that's how they programmed it as well. It's certainly not how it's written. But I think that whoever designed this card thinks that's how it does work. And so it might even be retconned, be errated to fix that. So it does give you X mana for each creature token. Do I like it? No, I don't think so. Gain X mana. X is the number of creature tokens you control. Then create a plant token. I mean, I do play with From Beyond sometimes. This is slightly compared. The thing that From Beyond does, weirdly enough, the reason I always go to From Beyond, and it's not a powerful card by any... It looked powerful when it was printed, From Beyond. It's really not. It's a very low power card. But the reason I always go and pull it out has really got nothing to do with the fact that it generates mana. It's because it creates a blocker every turn. You know? So, and this does not do that. I don't like this. And you are welcome to like it if you like, but I bet you don't. Izoni, Center of the Web. 16 mana 5/4. When this creature enters the battlefield or attacks, collect evidence 2. Well, it's all very well. We like the sentence, enters the battlefield or attacks. We've been seeing this sentence a bit in recent years and we love it. In fact, I believe that Blossoming Tortoise has that exact sentence on it. But collect evidence 2 is taking all of the winners out of our sails there. If evidence were collected, create 2 Golgari spider tokens. I mean, maybe they look like they could be 1/3 reach for all I know. When a token is destroyed, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards and gain 4 life. Yeah, it's not actually generating any tokens, is it? So we hate it. Judith, hello Judith, Carnage Connoisseur. I am something of a Carnage Connoisseur myself. When you cast a spell, hello, create 4 Red Devil tokens. Okay. Now, Red Devils we've seen before. They do not have haste, do they? And I suspect that that is a thing that people won't like. Obviously one for the Johnnies. But the fact that your Red Devils, that also gain Death Touch and Lifelink, but, you know, don't care a whole lot. I mean, there's power in this card, certainly. You can play a bunch of Red Devils. Do you know what? It might even be the type of card that I would play. Like, I'm always on the lookout for a token generator for family business, for my RAL deck that I usually play, and I started playing with Thopter Spy Network, but then I realised that Thopter Spy Network didn't trigger off Vanguard, so yeah, I might even play this in family business in a deck where I need to generate, where I need to summon a lot of tokens for an objective, because that is quite a lot of tokens, and they do gain lifelink. That's quite relevant, you know. That's all of your creatures gaining lifelink, you know. That could be quite a lot of life that you gain. So yeah, this is all right. I think the Johnnies will be upset that those tokens don't have haste. I mean, it still wouldn't be as good as Part the Water Veil if they did have haste, because it's not generating mana. But, you know, it's alright. So I don't mind this card. I don't mind this card. This is a knife. Clue equipment. First creature gets +1/+0. Thank you. And first strike. Draw. Yeah, whatevs. Knowledge is power. Oh, I like that art. I don't even really know why, but I like it. It's the expression on his face. And the fact that he's got an owl. When you draw a card, this is, 20. Look at that. 20. I probably should have read the text first, wouldn't I? This seems like the kind of card that I might, I haven't read the text. I'm just, you know, it's a support. It does a thing. It says when. The kind of card that I might like, but unfortunately I've looked at the mana cost now and I think I'm probably not going to like it. When you draw a card, during your turn, reinforce each creature I don't know, I might like it. Reinforce each creature you control until end of turn, then gain 2 mana. I mean, that's better as a... Again, we were just talking about Part the Water Veil. I'm getting Part the Water Veil vibes off this as well. Of course, Part the Water Veil actually generates the creatures. If you don't have the creatures, you're kind of losing the creatures. I mean, this isn't the one, is it? The Johnnies are all going out to get Ransack Lab. I don't think they care about Knowledge is Power. When they get bored of Ransack Lab, they might have a go with Knowledge is Power. Yeah, because, beefing up your creatures, gaining mana as you're looping. We like all of those things. 2 mana doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't know. I'm not much of a looper myself. But yes, like I say, I think the Johnnies are going to have to get bored of playing with Ransack Lab before they start playing with Knowledge of Power. And I don't think they are going to get bored of Ransack Lab. In fact, I think they might play it quite a lot. Crowl Whipcracker, 6 mana, 3/2. Yes, okay. When this creature enters the battlefield, destroy an opposing card at random. I mean, I don't mind this at all. I'm probably not going to play with it. Am I going to play with it? I don't know. Maybe I'd even play with it. I mean, obviously it doesn't go into a RAL deck, and I don't see myself playing anybody apart from RAL. But yeah, maybe I don't like that. It's not as good as creature removal, isn't it? This is the thing. You know, if you're playing with Void Rend, you definitely get rid of a creature first, and then if there don't happen to be any creatures in play, then you can worry about supports. And that's the way around you want to do this thing. What you absolutely don't want to do, yeah, is when your opponent has a big stack of Gelters in play, is to blow up one of his supports. And this is completely at random. So it's not so good, really, but it's okay. It's fine. I've heard tell that some people might like it in combo decks. And yes, fair enough. If you're going to be going off and that you're going to guarantee that you're going to be playing 20 of these, maybe you like the fact that you're going to be blowing up things like Tests of Talents. That's the main one, isn't it? That's like the one good sideboard card, really. I suppose Notion Thief is a thing that's relevant in Legacy. So, but yeah, I don't mind this card existing at all. It's okay. And who knows, maybe even in a deck with a full control suite, maybe I'll even end up playing it. Who knows? Krenko! Baron of Tin Street. This is a 5-mana 3/3 with haste. It's power creep! It's power creep, everyone! At the beginning of combat on your turn, and simple token, you control at random loses 1 shield. Then create 2 goblin tokens. Okay, so we do need a simple token in, don't we? Because of the then, because then means if in the magical land of Octagon. And unfortunately, Webcore seem to be going forward with that phrasing. We all know that then and if mean exactly the same thing, don't we? We all learnt that at school. Then create 2 goblin tokens. When this creature attacks, reinforce each goblin creature you control. Okie dokie. So we're playing this 3/3. Yeah. We take a shield off our investigate token, which doesn't blow it up, or maybe off our gold token, which does blow it up. We get 2 goblins. They don't have haste. Yeah. But then we reinforce this Krenko, so he's going in as a 6/6, and he's growing every turn. And we reinforce the goblins, they become a 3/3. We kind of don't care about that. But maybe the goblins are getting +3/+3 every turn, because maybe we've got enough simple tokens every turn. There's more. Destroy an opposing land support. Oh, for God's sake! You really don't want to make lands good, do they? Let's make a beatdown creature that just fucks up lands for no reason. Yeah, let's make sure that lands are bad and that the only decks worth playing are fucking combo decks. Let's do that. I mean, it's not good. There was a time for cards like this, and it was 7 or 8 years ago. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago. No, more than 7 years ago. I think I've been living in this house for 7 years, and I remember playing Nahiri beatdown decks before I was living in this house. So yeah, the time for Nahiri beatdown decks was a long, long time ago. Krenko's Buzz Crusher. When this card enters the battlefield, destroy a land support. Okay, so it's doing the same thing that Krenko does. And why? Why? You can't have answers. This is why Netrunner died. Yeah? If you subdivide all of the things that you need to have answers to into too many different types of cards, yeah, then nobody's going to be playing with the right answer for anything, and everyone's just going to ignore everything the opponent does. And then you're just going to have a game where nobody plays anything except combo. Is that what you want? Webcore, it doesn't seem like you want everyone to be playing combo all the time. That's not the impression that I'm getting from how you make cards. Crows and Clouds. Make it a fucking Demolish. How about that? 8 mana 4/4 Demolish. Why not? Let's have one of those. That'd be good, wouldn't it? I know we have actually, thinking about it, we have actually got a 4 mana Demolish, haven't we? We've got Conclave Naturalists. But fuck it, give one to red. Make it a 4 mana 4/4 demolish. Fuck it, why not? There's an interesting card, isn't it? I just designed a really good card there. I'm really proud of myself. Crozen Cloud Scraper. This thing's just a mess of arms and legs. Disguise 20. Fuck me, look at the numbers on this thing. It's 30 mana. It's a 13/13. I think that's how big Emrakul is, isn't it? It's 20 mana to disguise. And when it's revealed, that's costing you 25 mana and all the feckling to do. It's reinforced, which makes it a 26/26. It's quite large, isn't it? When your opponent, there's more, when your opponent makes their first match during the turn, your opponent may drain 4 mana from their hand. If they don't, this creature gains Defender and is reinforced. Okay, this is, I admit, this creature is probably big enough to actually have Defender. Yeah? If you're going to play it face down, flip it up, it's a 26/26. Yeah? And then if your opponent doesn't do the drain, who knows if Greg does the drain or not. I suspect he doesn't do the drain. So this becomes a 39/39 Defender. That's probably big enough, isn't it? I mean, it can't help but compare it to Galter, can you? 3 Galters is bigger than 3 of these, isn't it? It's going to barrel through that, and then you're going to look a bit stupid, aren't you? Plus, Galter, when you played that first Galter, it was helping you pay for all the other things in your deck, like creature removal and blossoming tortoises and all that kind of exciting stuff. And mana crypts. I mean, I suppose if you get a mana crypt, I suppose you can actually pay disguise costs with mana crypts, but why would you care? Why would you want to? It's just a bit expensive for anyone to give a shit about. Maybe some children will like it. There you go, kids. Yay! Have a Crozen Cloud Scraper. You have fun. Crovod Haunch, whatever one of those is. It's some kind of beastie, isn't it? Obviously. I don't remember a Crovod. Anyone know what a Crovod is? When this card enters the battlefield, your first creature gets +2/+0 permanently. Okay. Basically nothing. Activate 1, destroy this card, going through your life. Do some of this, do some of that, do some of this. It's another one of these things that does a lot of stuff, and none of the stuff that it does is even slightly interesting. Kylox, Visionary Inventor. Oh dear, 22 mana. This is going to have to be really good to make me interested in this card. I mean, that's not true. The mere fact that it's a steampunk dinosaur, that is enough to make me interested in this card. I very much don't think I'm going to play a 22 mana 4/4. But I'm into steampunk dinosaurs. Absolutely. What have we got? Ward, drains 6 mana. Does Greg pay for ward costs? I get the feeling Greg just doesn't pay for ward costs. Somebody tell me if Greg pays for ward costs. One of these days, like a really good ward creature will be printed. Maybe it's this one. Who knows? And then we'll all learn how good or bad ward is. But at the moment, ward just isn't on good things. We're all playing with actual good creatures and not creatures with ward. But there's no reason why there couldn't be a good creature with ward. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control loses a reinforcement. Well, that's awful. Then, oh dear. So what? It doesn't do anything unless you've got a reinforcement to lose. So not only have you got to play this thing for 22 mana, you've got to have something else that's reinforced. Or you've got to have played another one of these for 22 mana. And if you do, you're just going to lose all the value that you got for that 22 mana. No! Destroy the top X cards of your library. X is that creature's power. When this creature attacks, return the first 2 spell cards from your graveyard to your hand. Then the first spell card in your hand gains full mana. Yeah, it's not enough, is it? It's not good enough. In order to have to play this and have something else, and have that thing, lose a reinforcement, you know? I mean, maybe we could talk about it if it costs 8 mana. Maybe we could talk about it. But not at 22 mana. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Kylox is Vault Strider. Oh, you know, I have a feeling if you want to get a spell card with full mana, gather round, children, because I have a feeling we're all going to like Kylox's Vault Strider. If you're interested in a spell card gaining full mana, I think you might find this one rather diverting. Crew 3, I mean, whatever. I don't find Crew offensive. It's not as incredibly ugly as Pilot, even though it's almost definitely irrelevant. At least it's not as ugly. So whatever with the Crew. At the beginning of your turn, draw 2 cards. I'm happy with that. I'll take that, absolutely. Draw 2 cards. Bit expensive for 14 mana, if that's all it did, but there's more. Then, the first spell card in your hand that can gain mana gains full mana. Do you see that? We've got 22 mana here, yeah? And then also you've got to lose a creature reinforcement, yeah? And you're not even drawing more cards. I suppose you're returning cards. The first 2 spell cards from your graveyard to your hand, and you're gaining... Yeah, okay, so I suppose you are getting some cards being put back into your hand. But 22 mana and having to have something with reinforcements in play versus 14 mana and just not having to fucking bother with creatures at all. Yeah? Which one are you going to play with? You're going to play with this one, aren't you? But there's more! Oh my god, there's more! Because even if you do want to play with creatures, even if you're that kind of sad man who think, oh, I'm going to win by attacking with creatures, well, there's something for you too! Look at this at the beginning of combat on your turn. Your creatures get +X until end of turn. X is this support shield. All of your creatures get +X. And it's got 5 shields, +5/+5 to all of your creatures. Well, obviously, I don't care about that. But it's just something extra for the creature people. Look, 14 mana, draw 2 cards. The first spell card in your hand that can gain mana gains full mana. What's not to like about this card? It is fucking awesome, you know? And I mean, I guess this is what we have instead of lands these days. You know, we're looking at these 12 mana lands today. We're saying they're too expensive. Yesterday we found one we thought that cost 7 mana. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm supposed to like lands. But apparently I look at a land card now that converts 4 gems to one of 2 colours for 7 mana. And I'm like, nah. But I suppose this is the consolation prize. This is what we get instead every single turn for 14 mana. Draw 2 cards. A spell card in your hand gains full mana. This is the chase card for me. Yeah? Oh, I know you're all excited about Ransack Lab. Knock yourselves out. This is the chase card for me. This is the control player card. I will play combo. If the combo is better than everything, I will play. I did end up playing fucking Danny Boss for a while, just because, I mean, you couldn't argue with the fact that it put 2 infinitely large fucking creatures in play. You just couldn't argue with that, right? But I'm not a combo player. I'm a control player at heart. This is just a really solid card. I really like it. Am I going to play it over my Wrenn and 6? I mean, maybe not. But it's a great card. Love this card. Lamplight Phoenix. At the beginning of your turn, the cost of each creature with flying in your hand is reduced. Are you ready for this? By 1! When this creature dies... Is that it? We're on to the collect evidence already. Oh, dear me. The cost of each creature with flying in your hand is reduced by 1. Okay, so nothing then. It's a 14 mana 3/3. That is tiny. When this creature dies, collect evidence 2. If evidence was collected, return this creature to the battlefield under your control with its reinforcements, then reinforce this creature. We might have been able to have a conversation about this card, even as a 3/3, 14 mana without haste. We might have been able to have a conversation about it if that collect evidence triggered just when it was in the graveyard, but not when it dies. No, we are not having the conversation about the exact card that actually exists. When this creature attacks investigate, here we go again. It's another 15 mana fucking shitty fucking sigiled starfish. Can it be better? Maybe it can be better. Let's have a look. Investigate to start with. Okay, so we're drawing a card. Exile the first 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. Okay, fair enough, it's a spandrel. You know, it's just an extra little bit on the card. Whatever. When a simple support you control is destroyed, and that might happen, it does generate investigate token. Why am I so desperate? I know why I'm desperate to like this card. It's because it's called Lazav. I used to love playing Lazav in Surveil decks. There's nothing good about this card so far, but somehow I'm desperate to like it just because it's got the same name as a card that did something completely different in the past that I used to like. When a simple support you control is destroyed, you may create a copy, interesting, of the last creature card in your opponent's exile into play under your control. This effect can trigger up to 2 times per turn. No, it's not as good as other things we've seen. You know, the lifelinky guy who I thought probably wasn't as good as Gristlebrand. You know, it's basically doing the same thing. You've got a 15 mana creature. Yeah. It is investigating every turn. Those investigate tokens are going to go down slowly. This card, it does exile creatures from your opponent's graveyard, but you kind of have to get them there first before it does anything. You know? So, no. And, you know, because it's too much build around, not even high shit tier. You just can't throw it into a random deck full of cards. No. Sorry. Nice try. Sorry, but no. Lead pipe. Lead pipe where? At the beginning of your turn. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I think some Peach Relentless went down the wrong way. Let me just have another little gasp. There we go. How are we doing? Well, I've only been going for about an hour and a half. I've got no idea how far I am towards the end of this set. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to end the entire stream today and then start tomorrow, and then we'll just have 1 card to review. So I'm going to try and we might try and get through the whole set tonight, but as you can hear, I am coughing a bit at the moment. I say I won't shout, but you know me, I can't help myself. But we'll keep going for the moment. First creature gets +2/+0. Yeah, then your opponent loses 1 life, you go on live, blah, 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 blah. Leyline of the Guild Pack we have seen, haven't we? At the beginning of your turn, convert 6 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. That's a lot. It's a lot. 18 mana it's kind of a bit much, to be honest. You know? We're no longer really... It looks like a land because we're converting 6 gems, but at 18 mana, we're no longer really comparing it to lands. You know? We're having to compare it to really fucking amazing cards like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, you know, Chimil for that matter. And yeah, Ren and 6, I'm going to say it, you know. Like, technically speaking, you can get this ley line down and it have more effect than Ren and 6 earlier in the game, but there is a reason why we don't. Why our first play is very rarely to play that Teferi, isn't it? It's because if you spend 3 turns playing 18 mana card and your opponent blows it up, you look like a right Charlie. So yes, that's a nice powerful effect, converting 6 gems. 18 mana just pushes it up into the region where it comparing it to cards that are a bit better. But wait, I hear you say, and you are correct to say but wait, because this is where it gets really interesting. Overflow. Now remind me what overflow does. I think overflow triggers when you draw it and it's the 5th or 6th card in your hand. I think that's what happens. We've had overflow before. It's not a terrible mechanic. They didn't put it on a lot of things. They had it on serum powder, didn't they? And it was a relevant thing. Can't think of anything else it was on that was relevant, but it's not a terrible mechanic. Destroy all gems of your opponent's planeswalker colors. So that for me, that's the thing. If anything's going to push this over the edge, for me, that's what it is. I am going to enjoy, you know, on those occasions when I do play this for the 18 mana, the conversion of 6 gems. I'm definitely going to enjoy that. Although, looking at that 5 colour cost, you immediately think Khan, don't you? And then you think, oh, but he's not actually going to get to convert any gems, is he? Because gem conversion to your Planeswalker's colours generally means absolutely nothing for Khan, which is a shame. So yes, I'm going to enjoy having found myself in a situation where I've paid 18 mana for this card. I'm not really going to enjoy having a start hand and looking at this from the other side and say I want to pay 18 to put it into play. But then there's this overflow effect, isn't it? Destroy all gems of your opponent's planeswalker's colours, and it's gonna happen a fair bit, and it's gonna trigger a fair amount of cascades, isn't it? So, I mean, I like this card. I feel like it's probably not going to make the cut. I mean, I'm not playing with Mana Crypt. It's hard for cards to make the cut, you know. So, if you think I'm insane for saying, oh, I can't get excited about this card because it's not as good as Mana Crypt, then you're right. I am insane for saying that. Mana Crypt is fucking ludicrous. But this is a good card. It's worth picking up. It might even be really, really great. Who knows? Long Goodbye. Can't have its mana drained or raised. Destroy target opposing creature that costs 9 or less. I'm just too limited. What's going on here is that they got bored of like splitting up supports into different types so that all of your supports are... so your support removal spells are all useless, and they've decided to do it to creature removals. Well, why not have a card that destroys target citizen? How about that? Or target creature that has 17 power. Why not? Why not do that? If you're going to make useless cards that nobody's going to play, because there were so many alternatives easily available to you that just kill a wider variety of things, why not just go hog wild and make really, really silly cards? What do we have here? When this support enters the board, opposing creatures gain stun counter 1. At the beginning of your turn, creatures you control gain hexproof. I mean, we talked earlier, didn't we, about there's a spell that's giving target creature hexproof permanently. I mean, I prefer this. Mechanically, not this actual card, which is garbage, but mechanically, I prefer to have a thing that just sits in play and just gives all your creatures hexproof. But the other thing that this does, which is giving your opposing creature stun counter 1, isn't enough, is it? 13 mana for a fog that then sits around, meaning your creatures can't get shot. I mean, any Planeswalker, any deck builder worth their salt is fully aware of the fact that one of the things that might kill them is a Gaia's Revenge. They can get round your hexproof. This is a not powerful enough card. I don't mind the fact that it's a permanent that permanently gives all of your creatures hexproof. Well done for putting some more on the card as well as that. You didn't put enough on the card. And you made it too expensive. Loxodon Eavesdropper. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. When a clue support you control... I know I'm supposed to be reviewing every card, but sometimes I just can't be asked. Disguise 5. Yeah, that's right. It does nothing. I mean, This brings to mind that 5/5 ninjutsu creature with ninjutsu 5. Do you know what I mean? This clearly isn't as bad as that, but it basically is. You know, who cares? Here we go. Here's another one of those lands that is a bit expensive. Like 12 mana. You only need to play 2 more mana to play with the fucking vehicle that draws cards and fills your spells up full of... Do you know what I mean? That's not how it should work. Yeah? You should be able to play lands in a single turn. Magnetic Snuffler. What the living shit is this? It's a fucking pangolin with a frisbee stuck to its nose. It's got bravery. Oh, good. I was beginning to think we weren't going to have any bravery creatures. When this creature enters the battlefield, return the first equipment support from your graveyard to the board under your control. When an artifact card you control is destroyed... See, why? Why has it got bravery, though? I mean, I get it. Bravery is a thing that is... I hate and is pointless and is meaningless and is rubbish. But I can see why your brain would go, yes, bravery equipment. Let's put those in the same kind of design bracket and have those around that. But why would you want the equipment to go onto this creature? Yeah? People who play with equipment, they want to put equipment on things that have double strike and things that have lifelink. That's what I want to put my equipment on, if I ever played with it, which I normally don't. But this thing goes, oh, excuse me, Mr. Argus Koss, excuse me, I'm going to use this equipment. Did you want that lifelinking equipment? No, I'm going to use that equipment. And Argus Koss is like, you're only a 4/4 for fuck's sake. What are you going to do? No, but yeah, but you just stand back. I'm going to use the equipment today. I mean, what? Why? What? Why? What? Artifact card you control destroys creature that's +1/+1. Yeah, whatevs. Make your move. Destroy a support card your opponent controls at random. Wow, this looks good. Hello? Destroy a support card your opponent controls at random if you can't destroy the first opposing creature with the greatest power. Yeah, and that's decent, isn't it, for 7 mana? It is, of course, doing things the wrong way round. You know, if your opponent has a creature in play, you really want to kill the creature rather than kill the support. That's going to be the thing that's going to kill you. But this is a perfectly decent card. I don't mind it. I play with Isolate every so often in Legacy. That does, of course, do things the right way round. But, yeah, don't mind it. Don't mind it. Exile the first opposing creature, then gain 2 life. I mean, to be honest, you probably will, a lot of the time, end up playing with Mateship Binding, overmake your move, and then you'll think to yourself, what the fuck am I doing? And go and get a Void Rend from Fibblethip instead. Gain 2 life, though. Why gain 2 life? Because that's what it says in paper, Steve. That's why. Yes, but remember, life totals are higher. Make it gain more life. It's bad removal. Bad removal's okay. Marvo! Hello, Marvo. Deep Operative. He's an Octopus Rogue. Yeah, he is, and he's a 1/8 creature, but he does at least have the decency to cost 8. He doesn't seem to investigate. If I was to guess, if I was to look at the top half of this card, I would have thought he investigated, but apparently he doesn't. Let's see what he does. When this creature attacks, fetch the first card from your opponent's library. Right, well, I love these kind of effects. This might not be a particularly powerful one. We will see as we go on. But I really love these types of effects. Obviously, Atali used to do this and fill the card full of mana. And that used to be really broken and we used to love it. We used to love it when she had haste anyway. They nerfed her, they took the haste off, she then wasn't quite as powerful. I still loved her a little bit though. So let's see if the second half of this paragraph, because gaining that card on it, not gaining any mana, is not great. Let's have a look. Oh, hello. If that card's base cost is 8 or less, gain 8. Fucking hell. If that card's base cost is 8 or less, gain 8 mana. Otherwise, the last card in your hand gains full mana. I mean, I'm willing to take that gamble, to be perfectly honest. It's a strange clause, isn't it? You know, because like, it sounds like it's gaining you the mana for the card, isn't it? But that's not really what it's doing, because if the card's cost is 8 or less, then the first cards in your hand are gaining 8 mana. But if the card is 8 or more, then that card that you gained off them is gaining 8 mana. For 8 mana, for a cost of 8 mana, I can't help but be a little bit excited by this card. I mean, if all it did was gain you 8 mana a turn, we could talk about that, couldn't we? But the fact that it's giving your opponent's cards, and, you know, maybe, just maybe, it's ripping Galters off the top of the deck, it's ripping Golden Wishes off the top of the deck. I really like this creature. Am I going to play it? I mean, I'm probably not. Inti is fixed now, you know, and I probably want to be drawing my own cards rather than drawing my opponent's cards. But I like drawing my opponent's cards. It's fun. Yeah, I like this card. You may even see it in play just because it's that much fun. You may have to play against it. And beware playing against your opponents when he's playing with your cards, because your cards are always better than his cards, you know? So I like this card. Massacre Girl. A Massacre Girl is apparently the name of a person. I did not realise this. When Massacre Girl first turned up, I thought it was your standard magic thing, you know, adjective, noun, yeah? But no, apparently Massacre Girl is the actual name of a character. What have we got here? 15 mana 4/4, not big enough. When a creature you control becomes blocked. It's weird, isn't it? There's so many creatures that aren't big enough, and yet they gave us Agros Kos. It's very weird. People are worrying about power creep, but they've only power crept one creature. That's not power creep. When a creature you control becomes blocked, oh dear. I mean, and this has got Menace. I mean, who's going to get fucking blocked? The opposing blocking creature gets -X until end of turn. X is that creature's power. When a creature dies for the first time during your turn, draw a card, it gains 8 mana. I mean, okay, we've been talking, haven't we, about how there are all these 15 mana sigilled starfish that draw cards and don't put mana into them. This one does put mana into it, but things have to die. And she doesn't make things die. When a creature becomes blocked, do a thing, but she's got Menace. She doesn't make things die. Yeah, I'm sorry. Zyata Envoy. I'm going to play with you, thanks very much. Meddling Youths. When a detective creature you control attacks, investigate. This is a detective. Okay, whatever. It's another one, isn't it? I mean, this one at least costs 12 mana, but it's not 8 mana, is it? It's very much not 8 mana. Meticulous Archive. Okay, this is another 12 mana land. That's too expensive. Mirko! Didn't we just have Mirko? What was this guy? Is he Marbo? Who was this? No, this is Marvo. And this is Mirko. Are they the same? I think they're the same guild, aren't they? What's blue-black? It's Dimir, isn't it? I know we're also supposed to pretend that the Dimir guild doesn't exist. Like all the other 9 guilds meet up in Ravnica every month and go, oh, there's only 9 guilds. There's no secret 10th guild. And Dimir's hiding behind the corner going, tee. So Marvo and Mirko, Terry Lee, Gary Tibbs, and yours truly. Nobody's going to get that reference, Steve. Mirko, Obsessive Theorist. They're in the Dimir guild. Vampire Detective. 15 mana 3/4. Oh, it's not going to be another one, is it? At the end of your turn, this creature gets +X. Permanently, okay, might be permanent. X is the number of different creature cards in your graveyard. Number of different creature cards. That's not so good. I mean, a lot of the time that's going to be 0. It's going to be 1 for a while. It might never get to 2. That's not good. There is some more. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, return the first creature with base mana cost Y or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is just a worse version of other cards that exist in this set, isn't it? In the same colours. I'll leave that as an exercise to the reader, but what are some of the other cards that do this, but better, for about the same cost in this set? Because I can think of 2. Mistway Spy. When it's revealed, investigate. Yeah, whatever. Create a detective token. Yeah, whatever. This is my United States of whatever. At the beginning of the turn, return the first. This is 18 mana. I looked at the mana cost again. Oh, damn. The beginning of the turn, return the first creature with base power 9 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with its reinforcements. I mean, that's it's okay. There is more, though. There is more. I mean, like I was saying before about returning things to the graveyard, it's all very well saying that this can put a bloodthirsty adversary in play, but it doesn't do anything until there's a bloodthirsty adversary in the graveyard. So just draw cards until you get a bloodthirsty adversary and then play that. There's more, though. At the end of your turn, you may destroy the top 2 cards of your library. If you do, reinforce each non-legendary creature you control. When this support is destroyed, destroy all creatures. I mean, I feel like we don't need that in this day and age, do we? We don't need that clause. Obviously, this is based on a paper card, and that's, you know, just put in as a big fuck you to anyone who's expecting the whole game to revolve around the card anymore. You know, is anything you've done with the card is going to get blown up when the card gets blown up. I don't think we need this in Magic Puzzle Quest. But it seems a bit expensive to me. I don't know. I'm not excited. I'll tell you what it's better than. It's better than Mirko, isn't it? Isn't it? Surely it's better than Mirko. Yeah, I think it's better than Mirko. Neighborhood Guardian. That is a very 70s looking unicorn, isn't it? That unicorn may as well be wearing flares. When a creature with base power 3 or less enters the battlefield or is reinforced, your first creature gets +1/+1. Again, they've done something new with a mechanic. This isn't a mechanic we've seen a lot. Why waste it on a card that's absolutely pointless? Nervous Gardener. She does indeed look nervous. When this creature is revealed, fetch the next 2 land supports from your library. Even if we cared about flipping this and fetching those land supports, we'd want them to have some mana in them. They don't, so we do not care. Doubly, we don't care. When this creature enters the battlefield, you lose 7 life. Again, I mean, I know that Moroi is an old creature type from, I believe there was one in Visions in paper, you know, and the idea is, you know, that it's big, that it's got great big stats for its cost, and this is a 9 mana 4/2, so get fucked. Niv Mizzet, Guild Pact. Oh, hello. Well, I mean, obviously this was a very long time ago, but I remember Jace being the Guild Pact, wasn't he? But now apparently it's Niv Mizzet who's the Guild Pact. When this creature, who is a 6/6/17 hexproof is slightly relevant, isn't it? When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, deal X damage to the first opposing creature and gain X life. Okay. Then draw X cards. X is the number of colours with 5 or more gems on the board. Now I'm tempted to write this off with the other sigilled starfishes for 15 mana. This one's slightly bigger than all the other ones we've seen. That means nothing. It's still too small. You are gaining 6 life. Oh, no, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought you were gaining 6 life. I don't know where I got that from. It obviously doesn't have lifelink, even though it's got kind of a lifelinky ability. So, the number of colours with 5 or more gems on the board. How many is that going to be? I mean, it's going to be a number, isn't it? It's going to be about 3. Yeah? Isn't it? I doubt it's going to be 4. I doubt it's going to... Maybe it is. Maybe it's going to be 4 or 5. Let's assume it's 3. Deal 3 damage to the first opposing creature and only the first opposing creature. Gain 3 life. Draw 3 cards. I mean, 3 cards is a lot, but, you know, I'm happy with 2 cards and the first spell in my hand, gaining all of its mana. It's the not gaining mana thing that, as usual, hamstrings the drawing cards effect and is the reason we don't give a shit about it. So many expensive things that draw a card. And in the same set, things that cost the same and give things mana or put things into play. It's like 2 different people have designed this set. What have we got? No witnesses. I'm reminded of a Tom Scar video. Go and search for it on YouTube. It's funny. Of course, no witnesses is the punchline, so there's no point going and searching for it. Never mind. The player with the most creatures on the board investigates, then destroy all creatures, gain 10 loyalty. So the investigate is basically nothing. The real question you've got to ask yourself here is whether you want to destroy all creatures for 10 mana and gain 10 loyalty, or destroy all creatures for 12 mana and on the flip side of it, return 3 creatures from the graveyard into play and they have haste and berserker. Now, that sounds like a flippant question because it does sound like the second option is better, but there might well be times when you want to gain that 10 loyalty. This is a solid rare. I think we should all be getting hold of it. Don't you? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know, 10 loyalty. It's a fair bit of loyalty. There are plenty of planeswalkers out there who love loyalty. Yeah, it's definitely a good... As I say, hard to say whether I like this better than Push-Pull, but definitely a great card. Novice Inspector. Investigate, yes, whatever. Your first creature is +2, yes, whatever. Officious Interrogation. Exile all simple supports on the board. Right. Then create X clue tokens. X is the number of opposing creatures. I mean, no. Right here, you can see the problem with simple, can't you? Right here, you can see this is a broad, expansive use of simple. Exile all simple tokens on the board, and you look at it, and straight away you know that a lot of the time it's not going to do you any good at all. Yeah? Even if this said non-token supports, it's not good enough of an effect. Subdividing supports up into these so many subtypes just creates a lot of answer cards like this one that nobody gives a shit about. On the job, creatures you control get +2/+1 investigate. I'm sure we don't care about that. On the trail, when you draw your first land support each time... now you can see this, can't you? This has obviously come from paper. Yeah? And this is probably really good in paper. When you draw your first land, a third of your deck is land in paper. Probably 40% these days is a third land for your deck is 20 years ago tech, isn't it? 40% of your deck is land. When you draw a land, do a thing. That's probably really great in paper. But what have we got? We've got these fucking 12 mana things that we don't like. We're all playing the fucking Kyvox vehicle thing instead. We're all playing Ren and 6 instead. We're playing other things. We're not playing lands to boost our spell. We're playing Moxes. People like Moxes. When you draw your first land, the first land card in your hand gains full mana at the beginning of your opponent's turn. Draw a card. I mean, maybe. I mean, people do still play with those old lands, though. I hate those gaining 5 mana lands because they're not lands, but they are, you know, quite decent cards, I guess. And people do play with a lot of them. And I don't know. Maybe people will like this. I don't think so. When you're building your deck with Blossoming Tortoise and some lands and some Galter, is there room for this in the deck? I don't think there is. I don't think there's room for this in the deck. And I think you play with those things before you play with this. Out cold. Oh, yeah, and that's really the only deck that's going to be in it. You know, because you're going to need a reason to play with a lot of lands in your deck, because lands are shit! Moving on. Out cold. Can't have its mana drained or raised. Okay. And they really kind of need to stop printing that on cards, because it doesn't matter. Disable up to the first 2 opposing creatures until the beginning of next turn, then investigate. Yeah. Definitely not good enough. We've got stun counter 2, haven't we? Give it stun counter 2. I still wouldn't like it if it gave it stun counter 2, but we've got it. Do that. Panoptic Projector. What is going on in this picture? I have literally no idea. When you cast a cloaked creature, draw a card. Right, how many good ones of those have we seen? I mean, I do still quite like that Exalted Angel. It might not get as big as I think it does. But that's one. What other cloaked creatures are we playing with? Anyone? Slim pickings, isn't it? I mean, there might have been some that we looked at and we went, we haven't seen any other really good cloaked creatures. At the beginning of your turn, the first creature with Disguise in your hand gains full mana. When a creature you control is revealed, reinforce it 2 times. Two, Johnny. 2 Johnny. And we're talking Scrub Johnny as well, aren't we? You know, it's not like the proper Johnnies who after Ransack Lad give a crap about this. We're talking about the types of Johnnies who used to put green ward on an Eiling Leprechaun. That's the type of Johnny we're talking about, who'll play with Panoptic Projector. Perimeter Enforcer. This is a 1/1 with lifelink. Creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Wow. Person of Interest. When this creature enters a battlefield, this creature gains Suspect, then create a Detective token. Persuasive Interrogators. Is that Vraska? I mean, maybe not, because that is just another fucking Gorgon standing behind. But it could be. Seems unlikely. Nah, they're supposed to have like sparky eyes, aren't they? Don't Planeswalkers have sparky eyes? It's probably not Vraska. Anyway, when this card enters the battlefield, investigate. Yeah, don't care. When a clue support you control is destroyed, create 2 Phyrexian Toxin tokens. Well, we haven't seen any of those for a while, have we? I don't think so. I think anybody who wants to kill people with Toxin is playing with Inexorable Tide, aren't they? I don't think they want to be playing with Investigate things. Especially because I haven't seen any really good Investigate cards. And we haven't even seen anything as good as Tamio's Journal. Do you remember Tamio's Journal? I used to play that in fucking everything. We haven't even seen anything nearly as good as that. We move on. Pick your poison. Destroy an opposing enchantment support. If you can't destroy a non-land, non-vanguard support, if you can't destroy the first opposing creature with flying. Oh, nice try, but it's very much going to whiff, isn't it? It's subdivided into too many different things. I want a conclave naturalist, I'm afraid, and I never play that. Yeah, conclave naturalist is always burbling along in the background. I have played it as recently as the last standard when we had Thassa. And I play conclave naturalist occasionally, maybe in a coalition event. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, there are too many. This kills too many narrow subtypes, which means it's going to whiff, which means you're going to leave it out of your deck. Sorry. When the support enters the board, pick 2 of the first 4 cards of your library. Fetch those cards, destroy the others. Right, that's expensive for 13 mana, isn't it? Activate 2 black. The first opposing creature gets -2/-1. None of those numbers are big enough. Then collect evidence 1. That's a nice small number, but it's still evidence, isn't it? If evidence was collected... Oh, this is part of the activate 2 black, isn't it? Your opponent discards a card and loses 9 life. Go and play... What's the thing called? What's the 11 mana thing? Painful thing. Go and play with that instead. Yeah? Every time your opponent does a thing, they discard a card. That's a better thing. Go and play with that. Polygraph Orb, not good. Pompous Gadabout, who weirdly has hexproof for no reason and can be unblockable. Yeah, there's lots of words on there for no reason. Target creature gets +2/+0 and suspect until the end of turn. Okay, makes it a little bit unblockable. Yeah, why not make it unblockable? But obviously shit. Private Eye. Oh, I see what they're doing there. Yeah, very good. At the beginning of your turn, your detected creature gets +1/+1. Right, so this is actually an 8 mana 4/4. Ooh, exciting. When you draw your second card in a turn, something irrelevant happens. Okay, Proft's Eidetic Memory. When this support enters the board, draw a card. Right. When you draw a card during your turn, increase its level by 1. Right. At the beginning of combat on your turn, a random creature you control gets +X/X. X is this card's level. Right. Clearly not good enough, is it? So, yeah, so you play it, and you draw a single card, and a random creature you control gets +1/+1. Oh, it is permanent, at least. Okay. Alright. That's something. And then next turn, you draw a card for the turn, and a random creature gets +1/+1. I can't really get excited by it, you know. Yes, you can play all kinds of cards that draw lots of cards. Yeah. But listen, right? Let's say you've got a card. Let's say you've got Kylox's whatever the hell it is, and it's drawing you 2 cards a turn. Are you excited by the fact that this is giving a random creature +2/+2? Are you excited by the fact that Kyvox's What's itself is giving something full mana? Nope, you're not. When a detective creature enters the battlefield, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Rubbish. Pyrotechnic before. How many cards do you think we've got? Should we skip forward and see how many cards we've got? Good. It is. We have been doing it 2 hours, and I feel myself flagging. I'm definitely skipping over all the uninteresting. Should we just kind of go? Well, it would be nice if fucking Facebook put an actual scroll bar. Right, I guess we're doing a part 3, aren't we? Let us see if we can find where the hell we were. Yeah, okay. Well, let's go forward until we get to Rakdos then, because we'll do part 3, which might be very short. I honestly don't know. We'll try and do part 3 within the next couple of days. I might try and do it later in the day, because I know you'll all be at work on Monday during the day. But can't promise anything, because like I say, I am going to bed fairly early these days. and I don't want to be up doing card reviews past midnight just at the moment, even though I often am. So I'll do a couple more cards. We'll call it quits for part 2. Here we go. What have we got here? Disguise 4. When a creature you control is revealed, deal X damage to your opponent's Planeswalker. Creature to that creature's powers. Creature gets +1/+1. It's rubbish. We don't care. Please be good, Rakdos. Do you remember when Rakdos used to just blow up all of your opponent's creatures? That was a good Rakdos, wasn't it? Let's have a Rakdos like that. Oh, blimey, maybe it is a Rakdos like that. Look at this. At the end of your turn, destroy a random opposing creature. Yep, I'll go with that. It's fine. Random opposing is fine, isn't it? Because it's non-targeted. It might hit the wrong thing, but anything might hit the wrong thing. Any effect that's going to kill a non-targeted creature might hit the wrong thing, unless it's going to blow all of them. So that's fine, isn't it? Destroy a random opposing creature. If you can't, destroy an opposing non-simple support. You know, yes, all very well. You do want to hit non-simple supports. They could have just written non-token supports. Painful Quandary. Thank you, Goz, in the chat. I see you remember the name of that card that I was talking about 10 minutes ago. Painful Quandary. Play with that and not the thing. Anyway, where was I? We're blowing up a creature. We're blowing up a non-token support. Only it's a non-simple support, just to add a bit more complexity for no reason. This effect also affects Vanguard supports. Then reinforces creature. I mean, this is boss, isn't it? This is growing faster than a Thopter Spy network. It's blowing something up every turn. It does it at the end of your turn. The end of your turn, so it's not even going to get shot. Agra's Cost can be shot before it does anything, can't it? The Exalted Angel can be shot before it does anything. All kinds of creatures that would otherwise be good. Azkalots. People love Azkalots, don't they? He can get shot before he does anything. I know he makes a land and he might come back again, whatever. This guy, though, does not get shot before he does anything. You put him into play. He is a 6/6. At the end of your turn, before Greg does anything, he blows up a thing. He does things in the right order. He kills a creature. Then he kills a support. He does not kill a token support. Although, unfortunately, he is going to destroy one of Pajami's token support, so Pajami still will be able to protect his Hixus. Damn you, Pajami! And then it's going to reinforce. You're going to play this as a 6/6, and on that very turn, it's going to turn into a 12/12. This is absolute boss. This is better than Agra's Cost, isn't it? I was fine with Agra's Cost. I quite like the fact that it was a bit spiky. Yeah, that it was destroying a creature every turn. That it had double strike. No, that's nothing compared to this. This is what I want. It's destroying a thing every single turn. It's attacking next turn as a 12/12. It's attacking after that as an 18/18. This is the fucking bee's knees. Oh, this is an excellent place to end it. I'm in a very, very happy mood now, having seen this card. This is surely going straight in my Ral deck. Yeah? Surely it is. Is it? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm very tight for space in my Ral deck, and I've got very used to the phasing of Zalfir. You know, I've got very, very used to having something that destroys all creatures all in one go and not one thing at a time. Because that is, you know, kind of important in these combo days of Galters and Blossoming Tortoises filling the board up in a single turn. But I love Rakdos. He's great. Is the guild called Rakdos as well? Did he name the guild after himself? I mean, that's a bit presumptuous, isn't it? Naming the guild after himself. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. That will be the end of part 2. We'll get on to part 3. Like I say, probably within the next couple of days, because it will probably be a short part, so there's not much point waiting too long. And yeah, we're ending on a high note, aren't we? Thank you all for coming in. I will see you in on the next one. And goodbye.